you guys are gonna be blown away.
So this week's film, it was picked.
How professional was he then?
Try and bring it back. Picked by the Wheel of Doom, Adam's film, I believe, is Full Metal Jacket.
Aye.
Great film. Evan's just opened a tinny.
It's all happened, isn't it? I'm eating apple pie for cheese. He's drinking beer.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna get cancer drinking that, but
oh, come on. Lies.
So yeah, this film. Hey, shut up! We're talking about a film, not food and drink. Come on, bringing it back.
Unless you put a piece of cheese in that can, we'll talk about this.
I'm not going to ask who has seen it before because I'm pretty sure everyone has. But I hadn't seen this film for a little while, and I had a really nice, pleasurable 2 hours watching this movie. I'm a big fan of it, and I've forgotten how much of a fan I was. For me, it's definitely a movie of two halves. I love the first section of this film. I don't know if it's an actual half, but that bit where they're in the training section, I think it is great. We'll come on to, sort of my thoughts of all of it a little bit later. But anyone got any distinctive memories of watching it for the first time?
No, I know I've seen it, but it was years ago. Go on, Ad.
Yeah. It's just it was just it would have been around the same time as Taxi Driver and stuff when I was about 15 or something. But getting into Steven Spielberg, Stanley Kubrick in quite a big way, and it was just like one of those. But also, I've got a funny little story about this film as well. So back when I was trust me, this does link up to the film. Back when I was about 15, my uncle is like a massive like history buff, and he used to go up to they have those war reenactment weekends and stuff when people they just run around getting drunk, dressed up as like Nazis or Russian soldiers or whatever. He used to go to my uncle, not for the Nazis. He used to be into the Russian Red Army, and he used to go there, and I used to go along with him because what they used to have there were like loads of like guns and all these gun shows and stuff, and you could like go along and like look at all these like old wartime weaponry and stuff like that. And me and my uncle were there once, and we were talking to this friend of his that had like a stall that sold like replica rifles and machine guns and yada yada yada. And as we were leaving, he was like, if you ever watch the film Full Metal Jacket, his hands are the sniper's hands at the end of the film. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So like like at the end of the movie, spoilers alert, but they're getting picked off by the Vietnamese woman. That's actually a bloke's hands, and his name is Martin in real life, and I met him years ago when I was about 15, and I remember that made me want to go and watch the film.
Well, the entire film was filmed in the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, all in England, yeah, because Stanley Kubrick didn't want to fly anyway, so he just filmed it there.
Yeah, it's the same location that Oasis filmed their video for the first single off Be Here Now. Do you know what I mean? It's called. It's the exact same location.
It was Pinewood and is it Bassington? Yeah, Bassington Barracks.
I think the last film he made abroad was The Shining, probably. That was probably the last film he made overseas.
He would have had to have gone abroad for that, wouldn't he?
I'm not sure. Did he film The Shining in England, like the interior scenes, and then go to Colorado to get the exteriors? I'm not sure, but obviously that's the last one he would have travelled for.
Was he British?
No, he was American from New York.
I didn't think he was British.
But he moved over here. I think it was in the 70s because he made Clockwork Orange over here and a few other films as well. But yeah, he had a family here. He just settled down in England, basically. Loved Britain.
He moved in 1961. He moved over here.
Yeah. Jay quite often use British casts and stuff as well. Good director. Old Coob.
What about you, Ev? Did you own this in like university? I sometimes associate this film with you. I don't know why.
No.
That was the Private Piles.
I can't remember when the first time I watched this film. I think it was in college, so probably around about 17 or so. But yeah, I'd forgotten how good this film was, and I think with Stanley Kubrick though, I think he's very, for me, hit and miss. like Clockwork Orange is a prime example. The first half of it, I think, was really good, right up until they get caught and then sent to like the home for experiments. After that, it was just complete waste of film for me. It was just so boring. And 2001: Space Odyssey, I just couldn't get, because we studied that in media studies, and it was just basically an hour of monkeys throwing bones, and I'm just like, come on, you know. But no, The Shining. Yeah, well, that's what it seemed to is that I just remember it was an hour before it actually gets into space, and I'm just like, Jesus.
I got to be honest, I'm with you a bit, Ev, because I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I've never been too taken with 2001 either, to be honest. And and it's not through lack of trying. I've tried it out twice, that film, and I've never been able to connect with it. 2001. It's the one Stanley Kubrick film, one of my favorite directors. I just can't get into it. Can't get on board with it. Never been able to lock into that one.
The Shining was really good. Eyes Wide Shut was decent enough, I suppose. But yeah, Clockwork Orange in 2001.
I don't remember him dying. Like, if you'd said to me, "Oh, he's still alive," I would have been like, "Is he really?" You know, because he hasn't done anything for so long, obviously. But like, do anyone remember him dying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do. I remember it quite clearly because my grandpa Linford was a bit of a film buff when I was growing up, and this is the grandpa that showed me Terminator, all the Total Recalls, and all of the 18 rated films. By the way,
what a great name as well, though. Linford.
Yeah, Linford. Yeah, he was a massive Kubrick fan, and I just remember like it was 99, so I would have been about 10, and I remember him saying because at that point I'd seen Spartacus, and I think I'd seen what else? I think I'd seen 2001 at that point because he loved 2001. My grandfather did, and but I remember him saying, "Oh, Stanley Kubrick's died," and he was a bit gutted about it and stuff. And I remember him saying that he was looking forward to watching Eyes Wide Shut, which obviously I still to this day have never seen that film. I've never seen Eyes Wide Shut, but I remember.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I remember him saying he was looking forward to watching Eyes Wide Shut because of that, and also he was always telling me to watch Full Metal Jacket as well, which I eventually did.
So can I ask, Ad, what because you like Kubrick so much, what is your favorite Kubrick film?
I don't know. I always get I kind of drift between The Shining and A Clockwork Orange. If I'm honest, I can never really pick between those two films. If you ask me any other day, it'll be either one of those two. But I really like all his other. I love all his movies really. But the only one I've never seen is Eyes Wide Shut. That's the one film by him I've never watched. I've seen every other movie by him. And I'm talking Path to Glory, Killer's Kiss, Fear and Desire. I've seen all of them except for that is the last one, which is quite weird. Maybe we should put that forward one week. Have any of you ever seen Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah.
Is it a good film?
I saw it years ago, and I remember it being okay. I do wonder what it would be like to watch again, because it's kind of getting a more appreciation as the year go by, don't I? That's what I'm hearing anyway, or maybe that's just some of the reviewers I'm watching.
I love it if we watch it for the podcast and it turns out to be like Cocktail 2 and Prog's just like that, his head, shaking his head.
Cocktail 2.
I think it's quite a weird one though, because I don't know why I've never really watched it. I think it's because when it came out, it had loads of bad reviews. Because I always remember my uncle telling me that, I don't know if this is a lie, but he swears down. But at the time, he said he saw the shortest review for Eyes Wide Shut, and it just said Eyes Wide Shut, 1999, 1 star, Eyes Wide Shut, full stop. That's what he said the review was. He says that's what the review he saw in a magazine. And I don't know why I always think about that whenever he mentions it, it's just a bit of a weird one,
Stuff like that always reminds me of Spinal Tap.
Sandwich, yeah.
Yeah. So in their review for Shark Sandwich, they just said sandwich.
Yeah.
And you can see the cast laughing as he says.
Just one review. That's a film we should do on this podcast. But Spinal Tap is a brilliant film. Fudging Spinal Tap is brilliant. That is great.
And I'll tell you exactly the first time I saw it. I rented it from Glamorgan University VHS library.
Yeah, some good films in there. I remember seeing Paddington from it.
I saw Poor Little Gobshite. My left foot in that from there.
Yeah. They had an interesting selection in the library, didn't they?
Yeah, there was obviously films that are done in some sort of film study course or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's where I had Clockwork Orange from, and yeah.
But they weren't originals, though. They were always
Well,
like copies.
TV. Yeah.
I don't know how they got away with that.
I know we've never done a Clockwork Orange on this podcast, but like just to have a quick mini chat about it, like before we go into, because he's one of those directors, Kubrick is, where he's really interested to like talk about the biggies, his big films, like, and obviously Clockwork Orange being one of them. But everyone's seen that in this podcast. You've never seen it.
Never seen
Evan, what did you think of that one, Ev?
Well, I thought up to the part where they get caught by the police, I thought it was really good. After that, it was just went downhill big style.
I love. Like, that's one of my favorite movies, like by him, and like probably ever, man. But like, I think it gets better when he's out of jail, because I won't spoil anything for Andrew in case we ever do it. But like, I love all the consequences stuff. Like, when he's like, and I love all the stuff with like the what's it called? The aversion therapy. Yeah, I love all the aversion therapy side effect stuff. I think it's brilliant, and I love the ending. I think the ending's great in that movie. But yeah, it's just an interesting. But it's an interesting one, that one is, though, because I remember that got unbanned in, I think it was like the late 90s, early 2000s. It was before he died, so mid 90s. And I remember it was on TV. I didn't watch it at this time because I would have been a bit too young there. But I always remember, like, it was one of those films where it was made up, but it was like the worst, most violent film ever. And when I finally watched it when I was in my teens, I was like, it was a good film, but it wasn't that violent. I just remember being like, the way it was said to me back in the days of hearsay was basically, it was like a beheading and gutting of some person every 4 seconds, and just full of like the R word. And like, so I was always a bit like, whoa, this is going to be an intense film. And when I watched it, I was like, okay, it was pretty disturbing, but not near as bad as people made out. Do you know what I mean?
I'm racking my brains now. R word.
You know,
because it ends in a D.
No, not that one. R word is in sexual assault.
Right.
Why can't you say?
Well, you're not supposed to say it on YouTube. You get demonetized for it. I was being good. I was like,
you gotta make money first, Dad.
I know, but like, I was trying to be like all good for YouTube then.
I was going through my head, like, of all like racial slurs, and actually, I said an R word the other day, which I had to beep out.
Well, do you know what? The reason I said,
when I was describing horror in The Page Master.
Yeah, that was bad. That was, but like, I had to go and have a lie down after that. I was really offended. But, like, no. The reason I said R word is because I watch all of these like crime videos on YouTube, and whenever they come up to like, if we're going to say like sexual assault, and they always go, they were SA'd or they were R worded. I always think to myself, God, that must those. So because of that, I was like, oh, I'm going to be good for Andrew's show and censor myself here. But you know, like I'm always saying,
never mind all the F-bombs he's put in there already.
Whenever I say fudge right afterwards, I'm helping you out and stuff. It's fine. You know,
it only helps the audience just know the word that I either beep out or I silence.
But so it goes. Anyway, sorry, let's bring it back to Kubrick.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Favorite aspects? What people got?
I'll go first. Sorry, I want to get in there. R. Lee Ermey, the hands down the best thing about this film. I will die on that hill with this.
I'll join you on that. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman.
Yeah, he's immense from start to finish. It was funny. I don't know whether you know the story, and I'll sort of try and remember. But he was the military advisor on the film. He wasn't actually cast, and he really wanted the part. So he was at every opportunity, I think he was actually doing the scenes himself, and Kubrick liked him so much he let him ad lib most of his lines.
One of the only actors he ever ad lib, along with Peter Sellers as well. He never let people ad lib. Kubrick.
Yeah.
He was also in another war film. Do you know it?
I know he's in Seven.
Yeah, no. He's in Toy Story as well.
I believe he was also in Platoon as a helicopter pilot, I think.
Really?
I could be wrong with that.
There's another reason as to why R. Lee Ermey was R. Emery was cast in this. Does anyone know the other reason why?
Because he was an ex-sergeant or something.
No. Ed Harris was actually asked to play the drill sergeant in this. And Ed Harris turned it down because he didn't want to play that kind of guy. And he actually really regrets that decision to this day. He's saying it's like one of the most foolish choices he made was turning down, obviously, the chance to work with Kubrick. And because he kind of, and then obviously Kubrick was a bit like, well, like basically what Evan said, everything what Evan said, basically. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But it's kind of cool. But Ed Harris is the reason Ali Emery had a career in a way.
I like Ed Harris, but there's only one person that plays that role for me.
Oh God, yeah. But the thing is, you think about how good an actor Ali Emery was. Like he loads of great movies, man, and like
he's brilliant in the Texas Chainsaw remake.
Yeah, he is. Fudging absolutely right. Yeah, he's in that, and The Frighteners.
I don't remember him in that.
And Evil Woman. That's another cool film he's in. And when he goes out with Jack Black.
Just to say to Andrew, he's not in Platoon. He's in Apocalypse.
Apocalypse Now. I knew he was one of them.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, but and the Sarge in Toy Story. Right?
Yeah. Again, that's one of the best parts in Toy Story, and it's just a little 5-10 second burst when he's like when he's having slating Woody about his honor and calling him a dirtbag. Oh, it's brilliant.
He's got my favorite line in all of 7 as well. This ain't even my desk.
My desk. He was just, but rest in peace to the guy. What a cool guy though, to be that naturally an incredible actor. Because you think how hard acting is, right? You think how hard it is to get into acting as well, right? The guy had no intentions of ever being an actor. He's just military man. And yeah, he just absolutely smashed it on his like first film project. And yeah, just had a great career afterwards and like did loads of great movies. Rest in peace. What a ledge. Like
I can't even sort of like reenact the lines that he does. I can't even say like one or two without messing it up. And throughout the film, he's just perfect saying it. Every one of them lines.
Sound off like you got a pair.
What's the word where he says, "I will rip your head off and skull you"?
Brilliant, man. And he wrote all his own dialogue as well for it.
I got a few more. I'll rattle these off. The camera work as well. I think is really good in this film. Not just the long shots.
Yes, cinematography, awesome.
Yeah, not just the long shots, because I love a long shot,
but
the point of view shots. How they have Hartman berating the camera in certain parts of the training, and when they finally get to the Hotel 25, and it's got the birthday party for the Viet Cong guy who's dead. That point of view shot there. So it's got like I don't know what he's called, Crazy Earl or whatever his name is. He's talking to the camera and stuff like that. Yeah.
The best birthday scene though, Ev, is that when they're singing "Happy Birthday" to Jesus. I laugh so much every time I see it. Happy birthday! Brilliant.
Jesus.
The score I think is really good as well. The
score and the soundtrack I think is really good.
Surfing Bird.
I've got favorite aspects soundtrack except Surfing Bird.
What?
I hate it with a passion.
Which one's Surfing Bird? Everybody knows about the word. Is it that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit.
Does anyone know who did the soundtrack to this?
Yep,
the score?
His daughter.
Vivian Kubrick, yeah. And her pseudonym, Abigail something, the pseudonym is. I don't know whether she has a weird name on it, like Abigail something. But yeah, she's daughter. She did the making of documentary as well, which is one of the only some rare filmed footage of Kubrick as well.
There's one last thing, and I'll shut up for a while. When Mr. Touchdown gets killed, going back to the camera work, when he gets killed, the camera work, how it's almost like you're part of the squad, how it goes up and around, almost like like in I don't know when they're moving out in formation, so to speak. So it's like one after the other, and you see all the you see the soldiers running by you, and you're almost at like waist level as you would be if you're ducking down, holding the gun, going forward with the squad. I think that's really good too.
The yeah, the camera work and the war stuff is brilliant at the end. I love because it's. Sorry, you're finished, right, Ev?
I am. Sorry, I'll finish.
Like I'm not going to go too into the favorite aspects, but this is like a controversial one because this is sometimes some people's least favorite aspect. But I really like the fact it's a film of two halves. Now I'm not going to get into which half I think is better, but obviously the boot camp stuff is great, right? And yeah, I agree it could be a movie of its own, just set there. But I really like the fact that like because to me the movie's always been about. The film's always been about desensitization, like how you use humor as a coping mechanism in like the face of just atrocities, basically. So it's obviously an anti-war film. Let's just be real, right? And because every scene in the movie there's nothing in that film, or there's not many scenes in that film which aren't punctuated with humor, even if it's really dark humor. But like most scenes in that film, they have like a gag in there, they have a joke and stuff, but they might be pitch black and bleak, but they usually have some sort of like some horrible banterous dialogue or some like some like you know what I mean? It's a pitch black. I've always classed the film as a comedy movie, right? It's like a black comedy. But yeah, I just think, but also the second half of the movie has this really cool thing I always found where like because it's such an anti-war film, the film is kind of like a weird comment on the war film at the same time. So some of the explosions at the end of it when you watch it, they're really bombastic and over the top, especially for a Kubrick movie. And yet a bit like it's almost because he was always quite secretive about what his message was stuff. And obviously everyone's takeaway from a film is different, right? But I was always a bit like, I wonder if this is him just being like, oh, this is my sort of piss take of like the modern Hollywood action movie and stuff. I really like the fact the film is just two movies back to back. I've always really enjoyed that aspect of it. But yeah, that's my favorite aspect of it.
Prog, what have you got?
They've already been said. Cinematography and Ali Emery. I haven't got anything else to add.
The same with me. I've got Gunnery Sergeant Hartman and the soundtrack. But I love like a Vietnam War movie and soundtrack because as long as you're picking the songs from that sort of era, they can go wrong. The only thing is, right, there's a bit of a shock because every other film has got this song in there. It hasn't got Fortunate Son in it, which probably is a good thing because every bloody other movie does have it in there.
It doesn't have All Along the Watchtower either.
Yeah, it's a surprise that it's normally a helicopter's coming in and you hear that wow,
ding,
wow.
Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding.
I do love Fortunate Son, admittedly.
But it's got a great closing song. I know it's an overplayed song. I love Painted Black coming in at the end credits. So I think that's a nice little, Painted Black.
I think you're okay though if you were the first film to have that song in it.
Yeah.
What is the first film to have that song? Dun-lang.
Fortunate Son. Have a look. Let's Google it. It's so iconic in it. Most of them have it in there.
It's like what's that Buffalo Springfield song?
For What It's Worth.
What It's Worth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Forrest Gump. Yeah. Forrest Gump definitely had it in there, but I don't know if Forrest Gump was the first film to have it in there. But once I watched Forrest Gump, I heard it in every war film after that.
Right, All Along the Watchtower. I think I'm going to find out what the first film to use that was. Right?
Can we just say though the first war film?
I yeah. Okay. No. Oh my God, that's quite interesting actually. Yeah, the first war film it seems to be to have had All Along the Watchtower was Forrest Gump.
Really?
Yeah, not the first film to have it, but actually with it, this does say the 5 best uses of it. Okay, so maybe I thought that was the first.
I think if you went on the Wikipedia page of All Along the Watchtower, it'd tell you, wouldn't it?
Films with All Along the Watchtower.
But then, if you think about it, how many specifically Vietnam War films
There's quite a few though, isn't there?
Well, yeah. You got like, just off the top of my head, you got Apocalypse Now, The Deer Hunter, Casualties of War, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Forrest Gump. If you want to take that little section in, that's 6 already.
Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night. Sorry, that's Fortunate Son, not all along the Watchtower.
I thought you were saying Vietnam War films.
I know, yeah.
Pinocchio Vietnam War films. Jesus.
You know what? So I can't really find the list of it. But can I just say, a big shout out? I haven't listened to Jimi Hendrix in a while, and I've always been a big fan of Jimi Hendrix. I've always thought he was really good, and
that album, Jimi Hendrix Experience, is brilliant.
Yeah, I do like that album, but my favorite album by him was one of the what's it called? It's when he was in a band of gypsies. Is it like it's brilliant that is. I used to have it on CD. I used to listen to it all the time. It's got it's like him with a guitar on the front cover. It's like a yellow sort of effect on it. It's Band of Gypsies. Oh, it is a Jimi Hendrix album. Sorry, it's Band of Gypsies, a live album by Jimi Hendrix. But brilliant that is. Really good, and they're all good. But recommend any music fans who never heard Jimi Hendrix before, check out Band of Gypsies.
Forrest Gump was the first movie to use Fortunate Son and a helicopter in the same scene. Well, supposedly.
Does that feel right to you?
No.
Oh, it feels wrong. It feels like it's been happening for years before.
Others have used it, but they were the first one to use those two things together. In my head, I just picture Fortunate Son and a helicopter in every Vietnam War movie.
In fairness, then, that's the impact that film has had on you, isn't it? That you've just now associated that song with other war films.
Well, even Family Guy parodied it. They have Quagmire sort of, on all of them, I think, in the helicopter flying it out.
I've seen South Park parody that as well, but you just hear that voice of "It ain't me." It ain't me.
And Tropic Thunder did it as well.
Yeah.
That's a great film.
We should do that one soon.
Yeah.
Right, come on, let's go on to favourite scenes. I'll do mine quickly, and it's basically two scenes. The first opening scene with the barbershop. I love that. Just everyone just sat there, and you can see their faces. None of them want to be there, sort of thing. They've obviously all been listed in. And that, funnily enough, was the last scene ever shot by that for the film. So all the actors were really pissed off that their hair had grown back and they had to shave it again. And then the first scene that you get with the scene straight after it, they're all in the dorms or the bunks or whatever, and you meet Hartman for the first time going through everything.
You like that opening sort of 10-minute sequence?
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I sat down, right, with my laptop other side of me, and normally I'm making notes for the first couple of minutes of the films, just getting everything ready. And I just sat there and watched it, and I forgot about the laptop, and I just was so engrossed, and I forgot how much I love that opening sequence.
Yeah.
So there's my two.
Can I go next? Because you boys went in deep on other stuff. I got a favorite scene, and then obviously the section at the end where they're trying to get the sniper, I think is brilliant filmmaking. I think it's great. But my favorite scene is Pyle killing the drill sergeant. I think the mood of that scene is amazing. I think the music in that scene, that sort of slow but methodical undercurrent of doomy sound that you get. Mm-hmm. The vibe and atmosphere in that scene, I think, is excellent. And to me, that's when Kubrick is at his best, is when he's because that scene goes on for, you think, I forgot about it. That scene goes on for about 5 minutes. And it's just basically two people talking in the toilet, and then one of them shoots someone and then shoots himself. And it seemed to go by in a flash for me. So I loved that on a rewatch.
Yeah, great scene.
I always remember the first time you see the bit when he blows his head off. It's quite shocking the first time you watch it. It's nasty. But it's just and
the effect of him shooting his own head off was good as well.
I was trying to work out where the blood came from. Like, did he have something on the back of his head that shot off?
Yeah, he would have had what they call a squib.
But like normally they're like a little explosion, aren't they? And you hear stories about people who have put on a squib the wrong way round, and it like really hurts them. But like, I was wondering whether it was shot from the side of him. But it's a really good effect, however they did it.
They might have put it on the back of the toilet.
Oh yeah,
I wonder if they put it on the back of the toilet and just look at a quick clever edit. They just look. Let's watch. I'm going to watch the bit right now and see if I can figure it out.
Anyone watching or listening, talk amongst yourselves.
Hey, guys, I put it up on the screen now. We can figure it out. This part of the podcast is called deciphering the special effects. Rewind the effects. I'm going to watch.
That scene is particularly good just for the
It must have been. Sorry, Evan. It must have been a squib.
Go on.
Watch it now. Yeah, it was definitely. I'm not going to show it because it is. I think just against the violence thing and all that. But like, yeah, it you see a blank wall behind it and it bloop on the wall. So like, it's.
Does it go back or does it spray up a bit?
I think it just goes straight out, doesn't it?
If it goes straight out, it'll be on the back of his head then.
I'm on a frame by frame right now, man. I'm watching this guy die in the most detailed way ever. He's put his toe on the trigger, no, his hand on the trigger. Yeah, it's definitely a squib. But actually, it might come from the side. Like it might be that they threw something.
That's what I was trying to work out. You can't really see it.
Good effect.
Either way, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Ev? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say the build up long before that is what makes it as well. Like you can tell from the Lee Harvey Oswald questions that Hartman's doing to the group about how like one motivated Marine and his rifle can do whatever. You see in his face that he's already lost it, and it's from that point you almost know what's going to happen.
So can I ask a quick question about this, right? So Private Piles, he's really struggling at the beginning, and then he sort of turns it round, and with Joker's help, he passes. He is it called passing out or whatever you do? He graduates, right? Yeah. And I was wondering, so why does he flip? Is it the fact that it's been a build up and build up and build up, and something just clicks within him, or is it the fact that now he's got to go on and he's probably come quite comfortable and used to that training section?
I'm going to say this now. This is one of my issues with the film.
Well, I've always thought it was the isolation that makes him go like that, because I think that after he gets battered with the soap bars, I think it's just because he's talking to Joker a bit later on. He's talking about like he's saying to him how he feels like everyone hates him and stuff, and everyone's against him. So I've always taken that. I have no problem with that at all. I think it's just the isolation of it, and also there is boot camps. Those boot camp places. I mean, the old thing where like they tear someone down to build them back up. It can fudge you up. It can really mess with your. It can really mess with that sort of mental framework you have. So I've always thought that section of them was a comment on that, basically that sort of like on that style of training.
I'll concede everything you've said there. I completely understand your interpretation, and I would believe that that's what Kubrick and the writers are going for. My issue is that in the portrayal, I don't get that. I don't get the switch being flipped in him. I don't see where it happens. If it had been a slow degradation and it'd been no support from the drill sergeant, then I could understand him finally switching or flipping and killing the drill sergeant. But you have that sequence where the drill sergeant is praising him for being a sniper. And when I was watching it, I was like, obviously I'd seen it before, so I knew what was happening. But watching it this time, I was like, he's praising him now. He's found something he's good at. Where's the switch for him to go nuts?
And that's why I questioned the fact is, has he become institutionalized within the training, and that's his comfort zone? And now that he has to go on to war, he's had some form of breakdown because he doesn't feel he's going to be able to cope with the next section.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, right? This is Stanley Kubrick. He goes over his scripts and his films with a fine-tooth comb, right? So I've got no doubt that it was his intention to not have it be obvious what the breaking point for Pyle was or where the exact breaking point was. I think when I was watching it this time, it just didn't sit well with me personally that I didn't get that sort of feeling of, okay, I can see why that happened.
I've always just taken it that the guy just has a severe mental breakdown.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Caused by isolation. I think he's gone even when Ali Emery's telling him he's good at shooting. I think he's gone then. I think as soon as the bars of soap come out, I think that's the end for him. I think after that he's just like he's done. He's completely done then after that.
Can I ask you, Ad? Maybe it's something I missed then, but do you know after the bars of soap incident?
Yeah.
Is there a scene that I've not like realized, or like a line of dialogue that I've missed where it's you personally have said to yourself, oh, he's definitely gone? Or is it just the lingering camera work after that's happened and you can see it in his face?
I just think it's the actual scene when he gets hit with the soap. I mean, imagine this, right, Gary? You go to the army and like you go to the army and you got the looming threat of war hanging over you. So you're already in a pretty rough place anyway, right? You're the fat guy there. You're ripped on by everyone, and then you have a night. It's a traumatic thing to happen, man. That's a horrible scene to watch. That's really that is one of the. I'd say that scene is as disturbing as the suicide scene, right? When they're all smashing him with the soap, and that bit where Joker doesn't want to do it, but he has to do it because he'll get his head kicked in if he doesn't by the other.
Don't get me wrong, Joker doesn't want to do it. He hits him about 10 times in the end.
I know, but it's that thing in him. But he's like, if I don't do it, I'm going to get.
The worst thing about that scene, right, is they hold him down, don't they? So they hold down the sheet so he can't move. So he has no opportunity to even cover his balls.
Yeah.
And at least one of them smashed him in the nuts.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, I'd have a breakdown if I got smashed in the nuts like that. That's for sure.
But like, it's just.
Have we talked about this too much? Do you want to go on to your favorite scene?
Oh, it's interesting, man. It's interesting to break down. But I've always taken that, like that soap bar beating. I just think that's like, it's not saying he has the mental breakdown there, but I just think that's where the decline begins. I just think that like he has no support network there other than, and you think I know that the drill sergeant says good shooting and stuff to him, but he has no peer support there at all. He's just, and I just think that is the bit of the film which, and also his other stuff in the film as well. Like another horrible bit is when he makes him eat the donuts in front of everyone, which I know is what leads to that bit, but that's a horrible scene to watch. That's really not a nice, but that's what I'm talking about earlier. Like, and that's another example of the film. Everything's always punctuated with a sick, dark sense of humor in it.
Where they make him suck his thumb, don't they, with the trousers around his ankles, carrying his gun.
Yeah, because that's amusing to Ali Emery's character, and obviously it's not a ha funny scene, but that's the thing with the film. It's like it always has this really sometimes twisted sort of like humor in there, and like it just like so. Sometimes it makes you laugh, and sometimes it fucking disturbs you. You know what I mean? So like it's just I think it's really I just think it's quite clever that stuff is, but yeah. That's my
and also soap back in the day, they were chunky bars, weren't they? You think back to when we used to use a bar of soap in the 80s. I know this isn't the 80s, this is about 60s. Like a Dove soap, they were chunky mothers.
Imperial leather.
I still use soap.
There was a green one that I used to use, and I'm just trying to Google it now. I can't think what it is.
I'm just going to say now, as a bald man, there's no point in me having shower gel because I can't get the lather. I can't get the suds, can I?
Well, it depends if you've got hair elsewhere.
I keep that quite trim as well.
What about you, Ev? Have you got any favourite scenes what's your favourite scenes in this one? But
I got a few. There's too many to pick one out. I think
But he's
Just
going to do
shout
it
it.
anyway.
Yeah, just shout it.
Rattle them all up.
No, just like you've already touched on like the suicide scene and the haircutting scene. That's what I like about the credits. Don't about it's basically it's like Stanley Kubrick, Full Metal Jacket, and then they go straight into the film, and all of them look either terrified or completely off that they're there.
Where's all these F-bombs coming from, Ev? It's not like
Butch,
good.
well, yeah.
I wasn't talking to him.
I'm making up for Adam. It's the we've got to hit the quota before.
We hit that quota for the year.
Got to give Andrew something to do with the edit.
But like just how it shows almost like the every side to war. Like you have the mental nutcases, like the sick bastard gunner in the chopper when he's saying, oh, you know, how can you kill women and children? And he's like, you know, you don't hurt them as much or whatever he says. Then you got the colonel at the mass grave, how he's so blinkered and racist that he just thinks everyone has an American trying to get out of themselves. I know, like, but I gotta do a shout out to the scene right at the end when they're all standing over the sniper, and it's the point of view shot as well. Like they're saying, oh, you know, and she's telling them to shoot her, and even so, the you know, Joker still doesn't know whether he's going to do it or not. Yeah, it's I couldn't pick one out, so I went for loads.
Yeah, to be honest, but you guys have all kind of touched upon. You're all saying stuff I would have said anyway. To be honest, all three of you there. But yeah, I love, like, obviously favorite scenes would probably be like most of the stuff in the at the boot camp, especially the suicide scene, because that's a great bit of acting and filmmaking right there. But I love when we first go to Vietnam as well, because like, and what's even cooler about that is when you watch it, but that's England. That is England. Like, it's so weird that every frame in this movie is England when they're outside. It's just really like it's cool to watch sometimes. You just catch yourself and be like, that's, you know, you really do forget that you're not in the actual. You know,
Well, I had the biggest shock when I read that last night. Wow.
It gives you a lot of appreciation for production, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's not one bit in that film that makes me think that it's not in Vietnam or the US when they have their initial training.
But when they first go to Vietnam, it's quite funny when they're on about the Tet ceasefire or whatever it is, and then they have that attack on the base, and basically they're all bravado beforehand, saying, oh, you know, I need to get in and see some action or whatever, and then all of a sudden the air raid siren goes off and they're running to the post, and then you can see all of them scared of this, and even Joker says, oh, you know, I'm not ready for this, you know. Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Another thing this film started up as well is a parody this film has started up forever is the Vietnamese prostitute character.
Yeah.
Buku.
Yeah,
I was going to say, yeah, no one's mentioned
long time.
Yeah, that has been parodied in so many things since that. I've seen it. There was the South Park episode with Cartman. Cartman falls off a cow and hits his head and thinks he's a Vietnamese prostitute called Ming Lee, and he just kind of goes around. He's like going around saying "sucky sucky, only $10." He's saying that all the time, and
you know for a fact though, right? There are groups of boys in their late teens, early 20s who are saying stuff like that to themselves, having a laugh, and they don't even know it's from Full Metal Jacket.
No, it's crazy. Like, because whenever I watch them, I was like, oh yeah, that's the birth of that. That's the birth of that trope, the Vietnamese or the Asian or Taiwanese prostitute that says "sucky sucky." That's where it comes from. Is Full Metal Jacket. It's such a weird like thing. I think probably the most memorable thing from the movie. Actually, I'm not saying that's the best thing in the movie, but the thing that's caught on the most in pop culture afterwards is probably that prostitute character.
Yeah,
weirdly, and Surfing Bird, which I know. I'm not saying it was made for the movie, but obviously Surfing Bird has come up in like Family Guy and stuff, and I'm willing to bet that this film is kind of one of the reasons that song has such a everlasting legacy.
But you got to admit that. Also, that song is perfect for when they're going across like when they're saying Vietnam the movie and all that lot, and that song's perfect for that. Like,
yeah, I look, don't get me wrong, and I'm with you, right? I'm not going to sit down and listen to that song because it is annoying, right? But in that film, it works. I do think it does. I do.
Oh,
I do think it works
I agree.
well.
I do agree. It's it's just I do hate the song, but it works in that one. I will agree on that. So come on, let's move on to changes. I'm just gonna say quickly, I love the boot camp half of the film. I struggle a little bit with the Vietnam element, and I was trying to put my finger on what it was last night. I don't know if I needed a bit more out of it. It's a really difficult. I think it's because I love the first half so much as well, and it is definitely a movie of two halves. So I'm not going to linger on it, but yeah, I could watch a full movie of just the boot camp stuff. I think it's also why I love what's the
Renaissance Man.
no, oh well, yeah. I know Adam hates that, but what's the other one? Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. It's a terrible film, I know, but I got a soft spot for it, and maybe I just love that sort of genre of boot camp.
I know he's going to be on the Wheel of Doom at one point. It's just going to be on there. I know. But,
Swede.
so you can see Private Benjamin.
Well, hey, we should do that. I haven't seen that in years. And then the other bit, it really got on my nerves. Why does Joker do his John Wayne impression all the time?
Because John Wayne was the archetypal all-American tough guy.
It just got on my tits.
I love the first time he does it though. When he goes, "Are you John Wayne?" I love that bit because I love Arlie Emery's reaction to it. Who said that? And he's like, I actually am a bit scared for him in that scene where like Arlie Emery just starts. He's just like a shark bouncing around the room. Bruce said, and I think that's great. That bit, you know what I mean? But,
you know why I struggle a bit with it is because you associate John Wayne and he goes in pilgrims and all whatever he says right each time, and it's not John Wayne in the war. It's John Wayne when he's in a western.
Yeah, but Joker would have been a fan of the John Wayne westerns. Like he would have been a kid as things like The Searchers and like Rio Bravo and stuff. So John Wayne would have been his childhood hero. You know what I mean? That's why he's so.
And maybe it's because I'm removed from that sort of era and things. That's maybe why I'm not necessarily getting it. But
isn't the film set in 67 and 68?
Yeah. But like it's not like an assumption. It's they're all Americans, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I suppose it's cultural. Was what was happening at the time, isn't it? And
like you think about like they would have been kids in like the late 40s, the mid 40s and stuff. Like Jesus Christ, John Wayne was like was like the biggest movie star in the world then. So like they would have grown up like John Wayne was their Schwarzenegger to us. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're gonna love him.
Remind me later. I got a Schwarzenegger link to this movie.
I'm bringing it up right now because it's one of the issues I have with the film.
What?
I don't mind Adam Baldwin, but as soon as I knew that Arnold Schwarzenegger was first asked to play that role, I couldn't look at it any other way.
He turned it down to do Running Man instead.
Yeah. Now, I don't blame Arnie for doing Running Man. I think we all enjoy Running Man, but I would have loved to have had Arnie in this film.
I don't know about that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I love Arnie. I adore Arnie like that, right? But it would have been really jarring to have just been watching like all the other actors. Like, what's his name? Matthew Modine. What's his name?
Modine.
Yeah.
And then just Arnie next. I don't think Arnie ever works when he's not the leading man in a movie, if that makes sense.
Has he ever been, apart from like his early stuff, I know, but think of another film where he's not been the leading man from the 80s onwards.
Terminator.
No, I know one straight away. He is the lead in Terminator. He's the lead villain.
He's not the lead.
He's the lead villain in Terminator. He's the story of the movie. But
no, Linda Hamilton's the story.
No, the three of them are leads, but he's the anyway, we're not arguing about that.
Go on, yeah.
The film I'm going to put forward for that is a film called. It's got two titles. It's known in this country as Cactus Jack, and it's known in abroad as The Villain. But Cactus Jack is, I know, I used to love it when I was a kid. It's a Western comedy, and he plays a character called the Handsome Stranger. and he's dubbed over with an American accent.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always-
but this is early Arnie, this, isn't it?
yeah, but it's still a film when he's not the main lead. He's
I got one. I got one. Around the World in 80 Days. He played a bit part in that.
Yeah, cameo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you cut that. I meant like early films I did, like when he was just like.
Oh,
I'm gonna look him up now.
Um,
But when I was a kid, it was weird because you'd be like, I'd seen Terminator at this point, and then I'm just seeing Arnie just being like, come on, lady.
do you know the other one who turned down a role in this? Adam, one of Adam's favorite actors.
Oh, Mel.
No, I'm being a bit funny with that. Denzel Washington was asked to play 8-Ball.
Really?
Fair enough.
I would have been early on in his career as well, wouldn't
Yeah,
it?
he
hadn't
didn't
done
have
any
time
glory at
to.
this point.
He didn't have time to read the script before auditioning, and he said he regrets turning down the role.
Wasn't this? Do you say this was done in 87? Didn't?
Yeah.
What wasn't Arnie doing Predator at this point, or
Yeah.
he just done Predator?
He just done Predator.
Oh, okay.
But it is Kubrick asking him. It's not like it's like the best director and the best living director at that time. A guy that could get any amount of money and time to make a movie from Warner Brothers. If he asks you to make it's a big person to turn down for a role.
I think Spielberg had that mantle at that time, Ad.
We're going to get into this right now. Kubrick had more sway than Spielberg at this time. There's no other person, right? Spielberg would not have been able to go and film a horror movie based on a Stephen King book for like a year and a half. Like,
hang on. I agree with you. In 1980, he wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
But in 86, he would have been able to do whatever the hell he wanted because he had just done Indiana Jones and he just done E.T.
Man, Kubrick had that. He did the moon landing footage, didn't he? So he had that thing. He had that government pass. I'm not joking. People say that, don't they? But he did the moon landing footage, and that's what is a theory that's what afforded him all of this, like this wealth of time and budgets. This budgets with no roof and stuff on his movies. But yeah.
Right, come on, let's wrap this up. What other changes have people got?
I've got a massive one, and it's an issue I have with the film, and it's pacing.
Well,
and this is one that runs deep for me with Kubrick. I either really, really like a Kubrick film, like if it hits me, I'm all in. But if I find my interest is waning at certain points in the film, I can't get into the film properly or entirely. And then I don't see the film as enjoyable. And unfortunately, this is one of those films. So
at what point do you think you lose interest?
From the start.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Albert.
Right. I'm going to say it now, right? I'm not saying I dislike the film at all. I've got loads of admiration for Kubrick. I love the look of his films. Just the look alone, the cinematography will get me watching a Kubrick film. And I love his attention to detail. I admire that he takes his time in a film to tell a proper story. But because of that, I sometimes have issues with the pacing. And the first half of the film, or the first portion of the film where they're training, while I appreciate why he wants to do it and his need for doing it, I don't enjoy watching it. I enjoy the second half more, but I even have one or two issues in the second half with certain sections where I think to myself, I don't really need to see this, or, for me, it's not hitting the mark, that type of stuff. So
Adam's seething and he look at it. I can see the steam coming out of his ears.
Just so wrong,
the disgust on his face is just.
I knew I'd have him back for ET one day.
It's just I can't really say anything to that. It's just like so.
Frogs rating 2.
It's so preposterous.
Well, no, I think what I've just said is a perfect example of just it's my personal taste. That's all it is. Like I've said, I'm not saying there's anything substantially wrong with the film or the way the film's put together or the story it's trying to tell. It's just, for me, it doesn't really hit home.
Not a glowing review.
Ad, you go on.
No, not really. No, I don't really have any changes. I've never had any changes. I've always thought it was a pretty spot on movie, to be honest. I mean,
you normally have issues with some of the casting in films. Are you happy with everything there?
Oh, the casting's great in this film. It's weird because the casting, I always love the casting in Kubrick films, but also this guy was so anal about his casting. Like, he would just spend, like, did you know about, like, what's his name again? I always forget his name. The guy who plays Joker, Matthew Modine.
Yeah.
It was three actors supposed to be. It was Val Kilmer, was one of the actors he had. And he had three other actors lined up for it at first. And and they're proper name actors as well. But he went with Matthew Modine, who was like not really that known, because he liked him in some like random Vietnam film that came out like a couple of years prior. He was just like, I always thought he did really good with casting Kubrick, and I always thought he got brilliant performances out of his actors. I mean, I know it's a bit rough how he did it, like with Paul or Shelley Duvall. I thought I like the Shining, but you can't. It is a bit harsh when you watch and you know that she went through together before, and she's brilliant in it, you know. But
yeah, but I'm going to say this now. While I'm watching it, I don't give a crap about what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, he was quite a cruel. He was a cruel director. He was a cruel guy.
I'll consider it and think about it after. But while I'm watching the film, I don't want to know any of that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The man was an absolute genius, right? The guy that Kubrick is, and he'll forever be one of the giants of cinema and stuff and all that. But man, the guy, you know, he got there by being an absolute bastard sometimes. And yeah.
Have you got any changes?
No, not really. I was just going to say I do get where Prog's coming from in terms of the pacing, and certain scenes I think you could have taken them out and it wouldn't have made much difference to the whole film. Like the mass grave scene, for example. I don't think it's. You could have. Don't get me wrong. It's it's not out of place in the film, but if you take it out, it's not going to dampen the film at all. I don't think.
It's because you have that sort of throwback to the pin he's wearing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. I'm just mindful of time, so a couple of things from me. I haven't got an exact budget. I got a budget of 16 to 30 million, and then it returned 120. So about 4 times if you go off the top end of that. There was a scene cut from the film, which you may or may not know. But while the Stars and Stripes magazine interview was going on, there's a shot of the Marines playing football, and the camera pans out, and that's when you realise that they're playing football with the head of a human.
So, a Vietnamese.
Yeah. So,
I've heard about that one before. Yeah.
And then the only other thing is Vincent, what's his name? Private Piles.
D'Onofrio.
Yeah, he obviously put on a huge amount of weight to play this role.
Yeah.
70 pounds, and I think that was a record at the time. The record before that was Robert De Niro at 60 pounds. Go on, sorry.
I know, but he said in interviews he struggled to lose that weight for the rest of his life. He said
I always know him as a big man. No,
yeah. He was really skinny when he signed on to it, but he said that's really kind of his body shape and everything that film did.
It'd be really interesting to know, because you know of like more modern actors, Christian Bale being a perfect example where he will, he went from like The Machinist to whatever else he did, where he put on like Bane. Not Bane. Was Batman. He put on a fair bit for that, didn't he? But like, I'm just thinking, like people like Tom Hardy and Chris Hemsworth, how much they put on. I don't know. I don't know how much they do, because some of them went from relatively skinny to like massive people, pure bulk. But then we also know that that's not 100% natural. But different story for a different day.
I just found a funny piece of trivia, by the way, while I was just looking at the IMDb, because I do scan it sometimes to see if I can find any quick, fun little facts. Val Kilmer auditioned for the part of Private Joker. According to Matthew Modine, Kilmer confronted Modine in a restaurant and challenged Modine to a fight because he believed that Modine had stolen the part from him. What a prick. He was.
I'm gonna say this now, right? I'm glad they picked Modine. I think Modine's really good in the film, but I also think Val Kilmer would have done really well in that film.
I would have been interested in seeing it.
Yeah.
No, I do like Val Kilmer, but he's a great actor. But
let's be honest, at that time
that's
he was in his pomp of being a bit of an arse, wasn't he?
it would have been too Top Gear for me. That would have, but that's too Top Gear. Him playing another military man.
Top Gear? Do you mean
Top Gun?
Top Gun. Sorry, not Top Gear.
Right,
Yeah,
come on.
I'm thinking about Clarkson.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Ev, what do you recommend?
Yes.
Prog?
No.
Oh.
Albert.
Ooh. Ad?
Do you want my rating? I actually got a rating for this one.
Go on.
4.
Here you go. Go on, Prog. I dare you.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. What are you on about? Like, oh, absolutely. I'd recommend this one straight away. Yeah. I reckon if you can't really be a film fan unless you like Full Metal Jackets. Go on.
I'd recommend as well. Yeah, for me, yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
75% success rate out of us lot.
Yeah. That's an overall recommend, surely.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Right, Ad, do you want to do the Wheel of Death?
Do you want to see my surprise first, or?
Oh, okay, go on.
Has he bought a
Got an
wheel?
actual wheel.
No, I haven't bought a wheel. You wish I bought a wheel. No. So, like, I was thinking about, like, what films can I choose on the next one, right? But I was on eBay and I found this mystery boxes of films you get on there where you just give them a tenner and they send you a box of, like, random films. So I thought we could either... I'm going to pick my selections from this random mystery box of movies. I have no idea. It's not been opened. It's just been sat in the corner of my office here and stuff.
I love it if it's not the DVDs and it's some other random shit he's bought from Amazon.
I love it if they're all porn.
Oh, but it's important we have to watch them. Now,
Space movie or whatever it was called. I can't say the proper title.
Oh, not that again. Oh.
I'm not watching that again.
Space movie 1994 or whatever.
Oh, Space End from...
Oh, Gay N-words, wasn't it? Gay N-words from outer space, wasn't it?
That's it.
That's on YouTube, by the way. You can watch. Anyone who's listening at home, type in...
Space movie 1994, I think you put in. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because you can't put the actual title in.
Oh, God, I should have had a bit of scissors to do this.
Come on, Ad. Jesus.
I'm quite excited to see. So how do you want to do it? Before I open this box up like that, how do you want to do it? So I'll just pick my 2 choices from you, and you pick your own 2 choices.
Yeah.
Normal, yeah?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like an episode of Take Your Pick with Des O'Connor.
How many are in there?
15.
15 films.
Oh, actually. Should I go through them all?
Come on, do them quickly.
But I actually quite like
Police Academy 1 to 7 and the Harry Potter films.
There's a few different boxes. I got to be honest, these are all like a couple of Blu-rays in here as well, man. So I got Lego Batman, Fast and Furious 7, Fast and Furious 8, Fast and Furious. There's a theme here. Fast and Furious 6. Here's the last pile. Seems to be about 10 in there. If I can get this open.
I just want when you get those really thin DVDs, and they've obviously come from like Pound Stretcher back in the day. I really hope they're them, but you've like ones you've never heard of. Proper Hallmark ones.
I love that they sent him a box of 4 Fast and Furious films.
You're gonna laugh at the next load now.
Is it Fast and Furious again?
You'll find out now.
It is. They sent him the Fast and Furious set.
Oh my God, this is the hardest thing to open up I've ever tried to like open in my life today. I swear to God, this is in my...
This is glorious content, this is.
Oh yeah, but people are loving it right now. Oh my God, this is so bad. This is the worst box I've ever bought in my life, but I've kept myself. We got a Fast and Furious box set, right? Fast and Furious 6. Again, I've got 2 copies of Fast and Furious 6.
But one of them's a
Fast
Blu-ray.
and Furious 8 again. And Dirty Dancing.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You're picking the Lego Movie and Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I thought that would be a really fun section. Look at that. It's wall-to-wall Fast and Furious, man.
Are you starting to wish that you'd opened that box before we came on here?
I am a bit, yeah. I said on the text, I got a surprise, which could either be great or terrible. And it went terrible. So we're going
Here's a question for you, though, Ad. Have you got any of those?
No, because I've never felt the need to go out and buy Fast and Furious movies.
It's win-win, surely.
It is win-win, yeah. But bit gutted. I wanted there to be some crap in that then. Not that kind of crap, but like bowels of horror sort of crap. But yeah, let's do it then. So let me share my screen. I'm gonna true to my word, I'm gonna put down bloody what's it called? The Dirty Dancing. And,
what? Then we've also got True Romance. That's a listener request. And then Ev, Wines.
Oh, was it? Oh, I
was
forgot what you picked now. Hold on.
I know, but we got House of the Dead.
Oh, that's the booby one, yeah.
I can give you mine if you want.
But yeah, let's get Evans first because it's fun to just go through each other.
Flash Gordon he picked.
Oh, Andrew, why did you ask?
Choice from Wayne Curtis there.
Right, so I'm going to go in order as you appear on my screen. Evan, your 2 movies this week, but
The Paper.
Hey.
Yes.
Back in rotation.
I know. And When Saturday Comes.
Oh my God.
What's wrong with that, bro?
I've seen that before. I didn't enjoy it that much.
Frog,
actually, yeah, can I change that because it is bad?
No, it's there now. It's in.
That comes up, Bev. You're not coming on next week.
The Wheel of Doom. Once it goes into the Wheel of Doom, I'd love to take Dirty Dancing and Lego Batman movie out of it, but Wheel of Doom, once it's gone, is in there. Look how bad. This is probably the worst Wheel of Doom we've ever had so far. I'm praying for The Paper.
I'm going to add to that by saying Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yes, get in there. Get in. Oh, what a film.
And I think the film we've just done was quite a good discussion. So I'm going to try and go off the back of that and get another discussion going and say JFK. I apologise now for JFK because that is quite a long film, but I'm putting it in there.
Andrew Owen.
We haven't had... No, actually, going off, because Adam Baldwin was in our last film, I'm going to pick another Adam Baldwin film. And I think he's in it. But Bodyguard. Not The Bodyguard, but Bodyguard.
What's Bodyguard as opposed to The Bodyguard?
Everyone's Googling it now.
I'm going to find out right now. Put it on the screen.
Bodyguard movie, Adam Baldwin. I think he's in it.
My Bodyguard.
My Bodyguard, sorry.
So
That's
it's My
a decent
Bodyguard.
cast.
Ooh, PG. God, that looks...
Oh my God. And what's the matter with you?
So I'm with Prog right now, like I think this is the worst. I'm praying. I've never wanted a booby film so much in my life.
It's like a wheel of booby films.
It is everywhere.
Hey, whoa.
Yeah.
I think the 2 that I picked.
No, I think the Paper and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves can be taken out of the booby classification.
Just press go, Ad.
Come on, The Paper.
The odds are against us here. I'm just going to say that now.
Come on, The Paper. Go on, The Paper.
Oh, mine hasn't stopped, yeah?
Yeah, Gordon.
So, for those listening and not viewing, it's Flash Gordon.
Oh,
I think Adam's going to have another bout of COVID next week. Can you add?
That's all right. You can have COVID. You can still watch it and come on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right. And on that note, podcasts come out every week. Check out our YouTube channel where we're trying to do a little bit more content. If you want us to do a film in the future, please just let us know. Cheers all.